Hello and welcome everybody, my name is McDonald's guy, and today we're playing Lake of Voices. That's right, this is another visual novel. It's a horror game, which I'm going to actually turn off, just turn off my lights. I have like a 10-foot microphone here, microphone cord, headphone cord, whatever you want to call it. I can't speak words today. And I have no idea what this is about. So we will take this journey together, my brothers and sisters. That's right. We will take on this adventure. So we will get into it. Ooh, choices. You will need to make various decisions throughout Lake of Voices. Here are a few details to keep in mind. Certain choices are timed. Time running out isn't something to completely avoid. In some cases, not getting involved can open new possibilities. Other choices aren't timed. These options only determine whether Kikia has any special affection for another character or not. If you survive until the second night, the story will branch into one of 5 different plot lines. Based on your earlier decisions, the other characters cannot manage all situations in various plot lines. Regardless of what you do, if a character isn't making it, try getting the plot with a different set of survivors, or having the same group of characters venture through some other storyline. Becoming closer to someone can add or remove future choice options and change how some scenes play out. Your decision to build that connection may not go unnoticed by the other characters. Earning the full amount of affection with certain characters can require getting into specific plot lines. Okay. My grip on my lantern tightens as the fog around us thickens. While the forests in this area are relatively safe compared to Sinnlos, I can't help but feel my hair stand on end the further we get. My free hand fingers the hilt of my sword, something akin to a nervous reflex.
Have you seen it before?
Oh? But Bemel breaks the silence, either sensing my unease or assuaging his own. I hope it's the latter.
I haven't. I've had no reason to go near this cursed lake until now. What of you?
Ooh. Bemeli scratches his chin casually as though I asked what his favorite food is.
I traveled the long way around it once before. Not so pleasant. Something about it just frays your nerves. Although, even being near it is enough.
Interesting. So I'm not the only one who feels it. A sense of relief hits me, but not enough to undo the buzzing of anxiety. Ooh. The lake. Sinnlos most try their best to avoid it all their lives. The hundreds who die attempting to cross it. Unearthly black water dragged by death. The creatures lurking within aren't a secret.
No wonder you were assigned this mission.
There are few who've had first-hand experience with the place, even if from a distance. He'll probably keep being picked whenever they need someone to cross for however long he's with us. Bemel shrugs, bringing my attention back to the dark path before us.
At least we're taking the bridge this time. It'll only take 2 days instead of double that, and the sooner this place is behind us, the better.
Alright.
It would be preferable not to risk it. But time is of the essence. We don't really have a choice.
Okay, this is probably like the first visual novel that I've played that has voice acting, so therefore No cringe factor of my poor voice acting. One of our allied villages, Hemer, is being harassed by brigadiers, a band of ruffians. We don't have many guards to send as an assist, only Bemil and myself. The least we can do is arrive before we are too late to be any use. These kind of squabbles happen often, but have to be put down lest they turn into a blood grudge or an all-out war. The last we heard, neither option was that far
I
off.
can also see why they chose you to come out here.
I glance at Bemil and an eyebrow raised. A slight smile plays across his lips.
You're always so calm and so serious. Nothing can get to you. You're the best choice they had.
A smile now tugs at my own lips. I would like to thank him, but that wouldn't be so calm and serious as he just described, and if that's how he sees me, I'd like to keep it that way. My lack of reaction only makes his smile grow, and he chuckles a bit before refocusing on the path. I do the same. It wouldn't be right to let my guard down in a place like this. Bemil appears to feel differently, however.
You know the town on the other side of the lake, though. It's not so similar to ours. If all goes well, perhaps we'll have enough time to enjoy the new area.
For the most part, I ignore him, nodding when acceptable, when applicable. Bemil is a talkative sort, and if chatting helps keep his worries down and his sword hand ready, I have no complaints. After a time, the thick fog surrounding us begins to clear. A slick wooden dock comes into view, and with it the sounds of water gently lapping at its sides. Bemil shifts beside me, stretching his lantern arm as far as it'll go. He seems tense.
Someone's already here.
Ooh. A young woman stands by the dock, eyeing us warily. Does she intend to cross tonight? Evidently, she has the same question as we step up next to her. It's clear she isn't simply passing by. She's waiting. The stranger nods curtly to us.
Margaret.
Margaret.
Kika the Steadfast.
Kika. Okay.
Bemile.
Bemile. What? Bemile? Okay. There's a stuffy silence. Margaret turns to gaze out across the lake, expression unclear, with not much to say. Bemile, and I do the same. I'm just gonna chop up his name regardless. I'm gonna call him Bell. From here, the black surface of the lake looks disarmingly calm. Wind rushes across its surface, a sound like whispering. Though perhaps it actually is whispering. I concentrate trying to place the difference, searching for breaks and rhythm. After a few seconds, I feel foolish. It doesn't matter what the noise is, whether I hear them or not. We're not alone. The Nixie are out there. What's a Nixie? A feeling that I can't quite shake tells me they've already noticed that the little group of people on their shores, it feels hostile. My stomach sinks and I instead address Bemile.
Where is the guide?
Unless he's on the center island or on the complete other side, your guess is as good as mine. It's dark as pitch out there.
Panic raises inside me. Panic I tried hard to quell.
We can't cross without him, and we need to get going soon.
You can't cross with him either.
The woman behind us, Margaret, cuts in with something like a snort.
What?
I know the guide will be here tonight. I have already made arrangements with him to cross.
Bamil and I share a look. The woman seems hot, haughty and willing to put up a fuss.
I have his word he'll take me today. It would be wiser for the two of you to begin the trip around if you're really in such a hurry. Or you can make camp here and wait for him to make the trip back if you prefer.
I don't need to turn my attention to Bamil to know he's riled up. I step in before he can say something rash.
Even if that is so, my companion and I must begin the trip tonight.
Margaret is unimpressed and opens her mouth to argue further.
We'll wait for the guide to arrive before coming to a conclusion about any of this.
She clamps her mouth shut, then lets out a sigh.
You can do as you like.
With the matter tentatively settled, Bamil moves away. His fingers begin to tap lightly against the top of his hilt. He shifts from one foot to another, then groans.
What's that bastard even up to?
I almost visibly start, but manage to restrain myself. He probably doesn't know any better. I'm sure of that. I'm not worth mentioning.
With a mouth like that, you shouldn't even have the right to ask the guide to take you across.
How ludicrous. He's faced far worse than a bit of foul language.
Do you know anything that's happened with this lake?
I know enough.
Margaret is clearly not convinced, but she shrugs and makes a show of turning her back to him.
The guide's father is Garvin the Exemplar. Garvin never accepted the guide as his son, all the way up until he died in this lake. Your statement could be seen as tasteless.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, O is right. Wait, did you? Yeah, okay. Bamil rubs the back of his neck, his face regretful.
My apologies to the guide. I didn't mean it that way. I never knew about his... well, that.
A smile spreads across my face, one I quickly wipe away. Oh, a smile spreads across my face, one I quickly wipe away. He really did just misspeak. The silence slowly stretches between the three of us, growing more awkward with each passing second. Margaret seems irritated and Bamil abashed. Suck a dick game.
It's been years since the time of Garvin the Exemplar. It's impressive you knew.
Margaret smiles, lifting her chin into the air. The over-exaggerated actions is somehow pleasant rather than belittling. She's so much happier than I had anticipated.
Yes, I do like to stay informed. And you knew too. Good. This lake shouldn't be allowed to swallow even history itself.
My town, the one where I was born at least, was also Garvin's hometown. I was very young when he passed. The entire village went into mourning. People broke down crying in the streets. I'll never forget it. He meant much to everyone who knew him.
Oh, I have no such connections. I merely read about it.
She pauses, seeming to scan the air in front of her for something to say.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's all right. Thank you.
My town may have taken pride in Garvin the Exemplar and what he achieved, but we weren't the ones who lost the most. That would be his family. We each remained locked inside our own thoughts, not another word passing between us. Eventually, a small light appears on the bridge ahead, gently swaying through the foggy air. It gets closer and closer until it becomes apparent it's a figure carrying a lantern. That must be the guide. although I can't shake the ghostly aurora it gives off. The figure steps onto the shore, but we wait for him to approach us instead of going to meet him. None of us are sure how close to the waters we can get before it is no longer safe. He steps in front of us and simply stares. You look like Prince Charming, but we'll just say you look like Prince Charming.
Are you the guide of Sinnlos?
Sinnlos. The man nods. He has a sharp face and weary eyes.
Well, that's grand. We would like an escort across the lake.
Bamil motions the two of us, and Margaret approaches, a strained smile on her face.
Hello, it's good to see you again. I'm ready to cross, as we've agreed upon.
The guide turns to face her as well, remaining unchanged. It must not be a lie. He would have to say something, otherwise she really does have preference to travel with him. That's a problem.
Is there a way we can all begin the trip tonight?
Yes, I will allow all three of you to go. But with that many, at least one will die before we reach the other side.
Wait, what? Uh-oh. I furrow my brow in a disgusting adenine, and one offered with little emotion attached. Bamil glares back, without asking what we're supposed to do with such circumstances.
You should go around.
The sentence hangs in the air, the second half unspoken. If you want to live. Okay.
We don't have time for that. There are people counting on us for protection. Why does she need to go?
He jerks a finger at Margaret, whose face contorts with anger.
I don't need to explain myself to you. My journey has already been put off once, and I was promised I could go today. I will be going under any circumstances.
Oh boy, I can feel a choice popping up. She meets Bamil's eyes with a gaze of steel. He starts to speak, and she cuts in.
An extra day or two shouldn't be that much of a problem for you. Whoever you're meeting can surely wait such a tiny amount longer. Patience is a virtue, after all.
The night is only so long, and if we're still on the bridges when the sun comes up, we'll all die as they sink back below the surface. If you don't decide soon, no one will be going.
They? Who's they? The guy is dispassionate, stoic. I don't know, I would almost feel something's wrong with him if I didn't share the trait myself. Bamil pulls me to the side, jaw clenched tight.
That woman isn't armed.
His voice is low. He darts at a glance at Margaret.
We can easily get her to back off if we make this into an actual fight. After all, we have to go tonight, yes? If one of us really is to die, it'll be her. Would staying be a worse fate than her death?
Oh boy. I stare at the dock, refusing to meet Bamil's eyes, and try to keep my voice as level as possible.
We don't know her situation. This isn't a decision we can make for her.
What?
Bamil leans in closer. Apparently, having missed what I said, I remove the sympathy for her in my response when I speak again.
The guide won't accept something like that, I assume.
His face is grim.
Then what else do you have in mind?
First of all, you and I cannot split up. Either we both stay, or we both go.
Right. That's not a question.
Cross my arms, a hand on my chin. I have full confidence in my abilities and in Bamil's, but there's no reason not to believe the guide knows exactly what he's talking about. If we go, we might not be able to give the group the attention we deserve. That would mean we truly would be putting Margaret's life at risk on top of our own. Oh, I believe we should go.
And I believe you.
Emil's reply is firm. My steady fastness seems almost weak in comparison to its certainty. He addresses the guide.
We shouldn't waste more time. Let's shove off.
The guide slowly turns around without even a nod to show his agreement. Margaret stares at Bamil and me, saying something of a resolve in her gaze. Then she follows after the guide. At least she didn't insist we stay behind.
We should do what we can to protect her. It's our fault she's being put in even further danger.
Exactly my thoughts. We will take care of everything. Maybe I'm being naive, but I have no intentions of letting anyone fall victim to this lake tonight. Those monsters can starve.
What monsters? He turns to follow the others across. I will protect everyone on this trip. We will make it through this. I step onto the dock and join them. And achievement unlocked, begin. As soon as I step on the wood, the temperature drops. The light of my lamp shines against the water's surface, as reflective as a mirror, until we reach land again. Death is only one small mistake away. We fall into line with the guide leading the way. Margaret stays close to him, and I behind her, watching to make sure she doesn't slip on the slick, wet wood. Bamil brings up the rear. Each of us holds our lanterns in front of us, but it does a little good. The fog is thick and nigh impenetrable, consuming the light as if hungry for it. Above the surface, the lake is deathly quiet. No longer is there the whispering wind nor sound of water lapping against the shore. It's just our mismatched footsteps and the sound of my quickened breathing. My eyes drift back to the lake against my better judgment. It's no wonder there's not even a sound of water. With how still the surface is, it seems almost sturdy, with the sheen of a black marble floor. Alright. I heard rumors the water of Sinnlos is heavier, more difficult to disturb than natural water. That just the weight of the opposite clean is enough to keep someone down even without them. Wow. It's mercury, I'm assuming. Or tar, I guess, I don't know. Something even darker than the abyss of the lake flickers just below the surface. Or at least I think it does. I turn my gaze to Margaret's back. It's better to stay focused.
Fall back a bit. You're following me too closely.
The guide is looking over his shoulder, addressing Margaret.
I'm sorry.
If someone gets pulled into the lake, they'll instinctively reach for anything to hold on to. Do not let that be you.
Margaret's shoulders rise, and she nods with great seriousness.
I understand. Thank you for the advice.
He ignores her gratitude.
You can speak amongst yourselves if you so choose, as long as you pay attention to where you're going. There is no worth in listening to the sounds out there. If there's anything at all, it'll only be Nixie trying to set you on edge.
Nixie? What's a Nixie?
All right. Then, could you tell us your name? You didn't have a chance to properly introduce yourself, and I've only heard you being referred to as the guide.
I don't have a name.
Oh? Your name's Gandalf. That's it. He's facing the front again, his voice as expressionless as before. I have no way of guessing how he feels as he says this.
Oh.
It's probably not something he wishes to talk about. However, there was something else I wanted to say, so changing the subject is not difficult. Actually, I'm gonna call him Gandalf. If there are people that want to give the guide a name, the most likes that a comment gets on a name, that will be the guide's name. throughout this entire Let's Play.
Margaret, thank you for allowing us to join you.
Margaret shrugs non-committally.
It wasn't exactly up to me. The guide said he would take you.
She hesitates, and then she looks tentatively over her shoulder at
But
me.
thank you for saying that. It's appreciated.
Bemele and I will do our best to be an asset on this trip, rather than a burden.
Bemele, 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 Bemele. All votes for saying Bemele and Kakia are the two, well, for me, are the most really unique, but yet hard to say if you do not hear correctly.
That's nice. I'm not afraid to be out here, though. Still, at least with your training, you should be able to take care of yourselves.
Someone's going to die. I admire her resilience. It's comforting to know that everyone here is confident in their abilities, not enough to forget how terrible it feels over this lake. I am not sure if that is fortunate or unfortunate. Believing yourself to be secure doesn't mean that you are. No, absolutely not. You are not allowed to do that to me, Lake. As the conversation lulls, a new sound breaks through. It's a whispering noise again. It's the chatter of inhuman voices, and this time coming from all around us.
Taking care of yourself is exactly what you need to do.
Thank you, Gandalf. The guide is speaking again, except louder, as if to cover the Nixie's voice with his own.
Work to survive at all costs, and hope that everyone around you has enough sense to do the same. That's the only way you'll make it to the other side.
Margaret nods in response, but I hear a grunt from behind me.
Groups tend to go further when they work together to achieve the same goal.
The guide doesn't say anything in response to Bemele's grumbling either. I'm not sure whether he didn't hear Bemele or whether he just didn't feel the statements made thus far worthy of addressing. I have a feeling it's the latter. We go around a large bend in the bridge, part of it forking off to another way. So this, what we've been staring at for the last 15 minutes, or maybe we're over here. Either way, I wonder how the guide knows which one of these essentially identical paths is correct when something is in the corner of my eye. When something in the corner of my eye catches my attention.
I believe I saw something over there.
Keep walking. No need to worry.
The guide's voice is calm and level. I decide against pressing the issue, not wanting to set everyone more on edge.
What did he say?
Perhaps not wanting the conversation to be caught by the guide, he speaks softly, though I couldn't quite hear him because of it. I take my eyes off Margaret ahead for a moment to explain it to Bemele and stop dead in my tracks. Only one word is able to escape me in my stunned state.
Behind.
Oh. What the hell is that thing? Okay. 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 Ow. Ow, ow. Oh. Okay. If that's the case, very well. Then we will get our fight on. I will draw the sword of the unholy and vanquish this demon. Is it getting closer? I hope it's not getting closer. It is getting closer. Holy crap. Behind Bemele stands another figure looming in the darkness. It is getting closer. Seeing my face, Bemele grabs the hilt of his sword. He whips around, then staggers swiftly backwards. Several meters away, a crooked, twisted black figure hobbles its way towards us. Some kind of liquid drips from its head, curling around the edges of its face. It almost looks like it's crying. Alright, I'm going to need to make some room because, holy crap, I might have to do some quick time mousing events here. I gotta get situated. But that thing is definitely moving. Okay. The mill backs up until he's standing beside me. The figure continues its slow advance, head jerking from one angle to another.
What on earth?
That's a Nixie?
It's one of them.
Yes, Nixie that stumble across the bridges looking for opportunities.
The guide standing next to us, I didn't even notice him approach.